We are Makilala TV, the first Filipino-American TV talk show in the New York metro area. Get to know us as we talk to the community leaders, innovators, advocates, and emerging artists who affect Filipino-American life.
Hello, welcome to Makilala TV. We are the longest-running Filipino-American TV talk show in the New York metropolitan area. My name is Cristina Pastor, and joining me today are my co-hosts Rachelle and Jen Fuhrer, whom we welcome back after a long absence. It's not easy being transgender. The reaction of most people is one of not knowing a lot about it to downright hostility. There's so many things we don't understand, and we don't really try to educate ourselves until we have a transgender in our family or a friend of ours transitions. Gender identity, gender fluid, non-binary, gender dysphoria, pronouns. Today, we are happy to have Maria Rivera to answer many of our questions. Maria is a transgender fashion model and a vlogger. She hosts a very popular YouTube channel called Mabuhay It's Maria. It's all about life in New York City. Maria will share with us everything we need to know about her transgender journey. Welcome to Makilala, Maria.
My pleasure to be here.
And welcome back, Jen. And hello, Rachelle. Maria, tell us about your coming out. Did it happen in the Philippines?
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
So
How old were you at that time?
I was like in 20s. So I'm kind of like late transitioning because I am working like a normal job, which is pretty hard back in the Philippines when you are a transgender. You cannot get a job easily. So it's been a while that I've been working as a normal job. And then
What were you doing? What kind of job?
I'm working on the hospitality industry. So back then, but I'm fully aware that my parents knew about it, that I was not, a different, like my gender is different growing up because I tend towards most feminine side of like being with friends with girls, playing Barbie dolls with my sister, kind of like that. So they're fully aware that I am not like, in layman's terms, like straight,
Who was the
boy.
first person that you opened up to?
Oh, it's actually my mom. My mom is the one. I think it's more because my dad is just like, when I was a kid, like my dad is like, oh, you shouldn't be gay or something like that. Like growing up in very conservative and, home, it's something my dad are really super strict. And I was like, I'm super scared about my dad about
Was
that.
your dad in the military or something?
My grandpa is under military. So it's actually my dad wanted me to be a military when I was young because of my grandpa. So my dad is kind of strict about it, but my mom, of course, mother, very, very supportive about growing up like that. And then when I transitioned already, and then we're talking about it, and then my mom said, I was like just waiting for you to tell us about it. So they're just expecting about that. And then it was...
So your mom was very encouraging?
They're very supportive. My mom is really supportive. But suddenly, now that I grew up already and, as a matured woman, my dad is very much like supportive now and everything. It's like turn around, exactly. So
sometimes it takes a while.
And I just realized, okay. And, like growing up, I didn't hurt anybody, about my journey. I was a good A student back then. So I got a good job afterwards. So it's just like growing up in a normal Filipino life. But, the hindrances is just like being trans. Like, of course, for them, like being a Filipino, our culture is very conservative back then. It's so hard for parents to accept that. At first. So that's my mom just cried about it. And, even my dad cried about it. But, they cannot do about it. So they just supported me. It just doesn't change anything. I'll be the same person that I am.
That's
just
it.
like,
they've always known.
Yeah,
You'll always
exactly.
be well, Maria, that was your...
Maria, yeah.
So you mentioned the word transition. What does that mean to you?
Oh, transition is the hardest part. Like it's a big decision, because it's not just about thinking about I wanted to be a woman that I wanted to be. It's coming like, how is it the reactions surrounded me? Can I get a job? So, how is it? There's a lot of factors to consider about that. But I said, like, okay, I need to do what my instinct. I am a woman. I need to transition. I need to be free about.
When you were younger, you were already a gay person, okay, right?
A gay.
Okay.
So like a little gay boy back in the Philippines.
And then you decided you wanted to be a woman.
Yeah, but I know that I have, deep inside. But of course, very young age, you don't know what is trans. Just like feeling, the feeling and the behavior that I'm more towards feminine act.
Who did you consult with before you made a decision to transition? Did you talk to your parents, or priest maybe, some friends?
Actually, no, not at all. It's just like it just happened that I decided that I needed to be who I am. It's just like my emotions now. It's just like, okay, it's time to be free.
Yeah.
It's just like
transition. Because there's people who transition just wearing feminine outfit, changing the clothing. You totally like medically
transitioning. So I undergo like we call it the HRT, which is the hormonal replacement therapy. So in that process, you are drinking. For me, I'm actually prepared the pills, because you have two options, like injectables or pills to be taken. But for me, it's the same for my body. So I just decided to take pills, and it took years for the transitioning days, like suddenly checking your blood, checking your hormones, because you're lessening your testosterone level and increasing your estrogen in order for you to have the female, forms. Exactly. So I a little, I know it's the little
buds.
Yeah, a little tea.
Okay.
Yeah, a little one. It's growing. It's growing.
Those are the initial signs.
The initial
Okay.
signs,
Okay.
and then you're feeling more weaker compared
really?
to it. Its effect. Your muscles is actually losing fats.
Oh, really?
It is, and then your hormones suddenly become a little more feminine already. A little fat, like it's totally different. You
Wait,
gradually
You
feeling it. And,
you start to have the form of a woman. Is that what it
I'm
is?
luckily that I am very petite Filipino boy. Like my frames are tiny. So when I do transition, I was super skinny when I was young. So that's the thing that I think, like when I transition, it's more easy that the hormones adopt on me, but not for it, because body is different.
Yeah.
Everyone's have the different reactions on the body about the hormones. But for me, I'm so happy that I had that quickly developing the feminine physical aspect.
So where did the transition happen? In the U.S. or in other?
I was like working. I was like back in the Philippines. This is
back in
the
the
problem.
Philippines,
Yeah,
okay.
back in the Philippines, hormones is not easily to get. If you're trans, it's always black market. So
really?
under the table is not guided by medical
Yeah.
practitioner and endocrinologists.
Is it expensive?
It's because it's like, so expensive. That's the point.
Give us an idea how much.
It depends. Like one, some gays they're starting like the pills that been given to our public clinic back in the Philippines, even if it's not okay for HRT, that's the starting point they drinking because it's for free. So it's like for one, like the estrogen, like one pack, probably it costs about, in the Philippines, like 1,500 pesos.
So about like 20.
$20, and
$20.
1,500 is how much
It's a
is
lot
the
more for the
minimum pay?
Philippines.
Yeah, that's
But
right.
Minimum
aside,
pay.
aside from how much it costs and then the medical things that you have to go through, did you have to go to counseling before you decided that this is what I wanted to do?
This is the problem also back in the Philippines. We don't have access for therapies for letting you know. It's all about your self-decision.
So you did not talk
I
to
didn't-
a doctor?
I didn't talk to any
that was so
doctors
brave of
about
you.
it.
Yeah.
How do you know that this is who you want? Who you wanted.
My
be?
behavior and my feelings and my mind is just not aligned for who I am. It's just basically that my inside spirit or screaming, let it be, kind of like that.
Yeah.
So we don't have access about back in the Philippines, like talking to a therapist about it, how it's so sad. So just that's part of traumas.
Well, let's
I
say
think.
somebody young in her 20s and wanted to transition, and what would you advise that person?
Oh, it's gonna be hard decision to make.
For a young person.
For a young person, there's so many rocky roads from transitioning. Like for instance, when I'm transitioning, but if you are in this different setup, like in America, like people are very much more open. Back in the Philippines, when I do transitioning, like literally like still I look a boy. It's just like the first phase or like few months of transitioning, like drinking hormones. It's just like I cannot go to a female restroom because I still not look like a woman.
Okay, yeah.
So when I'm out, I cannot. I wanted to pee, but I cannot. So I'm controlling it. It's bad for my health.
So
but
you
I
go
have
to-
to go
have to
home
go
back
to-
home.
But can't you go to a men's room or?
That's the point. I feel scared about it because now I'm wearing a miniskirt.
Oh.
So there's like
Either
a
way,
conflict.
Yeah.
Either way,
There's
you're
a
like,
conflict now. It's just like if I'm going to a female restroom, the cis woman there might be violated, that they've
That's
been
right.
harassed.
That's right.
And if I'm going to a male's restroom, I might be the one to be harassed.
That's right. That's right.
So it's just like rather than peeing in a public restroom, I'm controlling it
Yeah.
just to get back home or to look for a disabled restroom just to go there.
So how is it now in New York?
Oh, in New
you?
York, even back in the Philippines, when I know that I am already like fully transitioned, like that is the turning point. Like when I go to female restroom,
Yeah.
like a plain woman, and nobody think that I am a different. Okay, I look like a woman now, so I'm comparatively doing. But the problem is my height. I am taller than normal
That's right.
Filipino.
That's right.
Filipina, so
So,
that's the point.
Did you say
How'd you
that you
manage to do
fully?
that?
Did you say that you fully transitioned in the Philippines?
I fully transitioned to the Philippines
not in
before
the
I
US.
no.
Oh,
I've been
okay.
into America for just 5 years now.
Oh, okay.
We actually have the medical expertise in the Philippines, so you have to go outside the Philippines, like Thailand, or really in the Philippines.
Thailand is the Thailand is when it comes to trans women, when it comes to their medical thing about trans people, they are very, very good. And it's way more cheaper compared than the Philippines. Exactly. But I am fully now, but everything is just like I did because luckily, like, okay, I have to be a model now. So in that time that I got some sponsorship from the doctors in the Philippines to make me, to be the woman I am.
Yeah.
So I'm quite lucky about that
That's
too.
right. What about your documentation, your passports, your driver's license? Did you change all that?
No, back in the Philippines, you cannot.
What about coming
Here,
here?
yeah. There you have an options here to change your gender as a female mark. But the name haven't unless that you become a citizen, which is I'm still on that process.
Oh, I see.
So in that
Okay.
became a citizen, now you can change
You can change, yeah,
But
okay.
for now, it's just only the marker. Like in New York State ID or driver's license, I am female, which is a good thing already.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing because when you're flying out, a little less discriminated.
Does it feel like the media, the social media, are focusing so much attention on transgender? I mean, there's like statistics is like 1% of the population or less than 1% of the population is transgender.
It's transgender.
Well, right now, I think in this kind of, modern years right now with social media years, people are kind of like a little baby step of the awareness about trans people. Like now you can see them like, strutting the runways, Fashion Week, or even like in the television or in movies nowadays, there's like a little, percentage of trans.
Representation, yeah.
There is still not a lot of space or representation exactly, but at least they are aware now. They're aware now that there is, trans people existing. And I think that is really admirable nowadays, but still not like fully,
Yeah.
There's a lot of hate around for being
I
who you
know,
are.
right?
Yeah. I mean,
what
No
was
matter what
that?
being
Yeah.
a trans, it's just like, there's a lot of people that's super scary. So at that point, I'm still keeping like private thing about my life, just to, not just for myself, but, for the people around me, the people that I love. Because, people might attack you for no reason.
On social media.
Yeah, exactly. Like, people bash you for this, for being a trans, and might, suddenly hurt your people who loves you because for being you are. Homophobics are still existing. So that's kind of scary.
So
until
when you
now.
were in the Philippines and working, did you experience discrimination?
A lot, exactly.
And also here in the U.S.?
In the U.S., no. In the U.S., it's they don't care about it anymore. But working here in U.S., I'm working as a model now. And then when I am trying to scout an agency before back here in America, and then I just tell them that I am a trans, and then suddenly they just say, we don't care about it as long as you're representing a
that's
woman.
nice. Yeah.
You look like a woman, you're going to be part of the woman board. So back in the Philippines, no.
I mean, luckily you have, as my child would say, my antiquated processing of what's a boy and a girl. I'm just gonna assume based on what we've known that you look like a girl.
Yeah,
right.
I'm so lucky about it.
Yeah,
I
but
think
not everyone looks like a
Exactly.
boy or girl. So what happens to those people who don't totally look like a boy?
There's a one incident that I will actually never forget. I was like with my group of friends when my sister is there, and then we're in a like a club in the Philippines setup. So I am lucky to be, like a female. No one will tell that I am a different person, quote unquote. But back in the Philippines, I was like sitting on the table, and then there's like not, I'm sorry, but it's just like there's, she's to look like a boy. She's wearing, a skimpy outfit, and she wanted to go to the restroom of the female, but the bouncer, the guard, stopped her on that time. And I was like, okay, I need to do something about this. So I stood up and then talked to the guard, why you don't let her to go there? She need to pee. That's a safe space for her. And then, no, she's just a blah, blah, blah. And I will fight to the guard. And then that is the point, that if you are not look like a girl physically, you definitely gonna get a lot of discriminating, even like simple by peeing. It's traumatizing.
I mean, I'm just reading through other stuff that some people who just go into the girls' bathroom or women's bathroom and pretending to be a girl, or they are look like a girl. But what happens to those, like let's say you have a mother with a little girl in the bathroom, and you see somebody who's not totally, doesn't look your conventional girl, and you feel like you're, what do you feel about that daughter? Like, you have your daughter who's maybe scared of seeing somebody who doesn't look similar.
There's a lot.
It's not like, it's like, that's not black and white. It's like,
That should be the start of an education within that family.
Yeah, that's true. That's
true.
true.
I think, because we, as a society, don't really talk about it, right?
We're not.
We just let it be, and then we find out, oh, a friend of ours transitioned. Like a friend of mine transitioned. We were so shocked. And then we started reading up on transgender. What is the biggest misconception about transgender people?
The biggest misconceptions about transgender people is people thought that they're still gay. So there's like the identity. So gay is not transgender. Transgender people is you are in, that's the word trans, you change. But gay is just like another identity.
Like if you're trans, you're either a boy or a girl, male or female.
Male or
but
female.
But if you're gay, you're kind of in between. Is that how it is?
Yeah, gay is like most likely like it doesn't undergo transition.
Yeah, it doesn't.
That is the gay thing. Yeah. So people thought, like, for instance, like we love pageantry back in the Philippines, and we grew up like Miss Gay pageant. So the point now, even in the Philippines, Miss Gay is like even you're transgender, you're joining on that. So people thought that you're still a gay. So people, even like I'm a woman, they're still gonna call you bakla, which is a derogative term back in the Philippines. I am a woman, but they call me still bakla because they thought they're not educated. That trans is a woman now. I've done a lot of mentally, physically, to be transitioned for who I am, but they still call you bakla.
Yeah, but there's transgender women who like women.
Yeah.
That's also
Actually the gender identity and gender preference nowadays is kind of very spectral. But I just wanted talking about myself here that I am a straight transgender woman. So I'm not attracted to women, but there's a transgender who attracted to another woman, so they are lesbian transgender.
Well, what do you call them? Is there a term for that?
They're still transgender, but they are lesbian. Their preference is to be a lesbian. Okay. So their gender identity, I am a transgender woman, but I'm attracted to a woman, so I am a lesbian trans woman.
Yeah, lesbian trans woman. Okay.
But we're not talking about the they-them here. We're not even talking about the they-them. So it's kind of but I'm talking about my own opinion here, my own experience as a straight trans woman here. Mm-hmm.
And how do you feel that the community has accepted you outside of the transgender community? How has they reacted to you? You said they're more accepting here in New York, but have you faced any type of discrimination or hate other than?
Honestly, I haven't experienced any discrimination here in America or in US, mostly in New York. I haven't. Probably that's the point. I'm so lucky to be like really look like 100% woman. But of course, like for others, it might be a different, the way they dress up, their body type, they are huge, they're muscular. So for sure, they're having a lot of discrimination about that.
What about discrimination within the Filipino-American community? Have you experienced
No,
anything?
not at all. I'm so happy that Filipino-American, most likely some shows here for Filipino community, Filipino-American community, like fashion shows in the embassy. So I'm happy walking with designers wearing a female clothes, like a natural, like 100% woman, like a fashion model versus a woman.
I think most hate that we also see is on social media. Like they comment, and so you have a blog and you have social media, so easily to comment on
I'm happy that I'm so happy that it haven't happened yet, because they're not showing any shades about it, because that's the point. I'm keeping it not openly telling everybody, but probably now, okay?
So your blog, do you say in your blog that you're
No,
transgender?
I'm not.
Okay, right.
I'm just like,
it's probably the best.
Yeah, it is the best, and then you don't need to highlight who you are. It's not just. I'm focusing on travel, lifestyle,
food,
and food,
and you just happen to be also.
That's my passion. So I'm showing you what I love. It's not about who I am.
You're
it's
not
just
highlighting to the world that you're transgender. You're highlighting your
might
interests,
be
who you are.
Might be someday. A lot of people starting that they are hiding who they are, but if they are come to the point that they're already there and they have the voice, a bigger voice to talk about to people, they're starting, to talk about that I am a transgender coming out. For instance, one of my favorite YouTuber when it comes to makeup is Nikki Tutorials. It's been a while that we don't know, even me as a trans woman, I didn't know that she's a trans woman. Okay. She's just doing makeup things in YouTube. And then suddenly for how many years, she suddenly that I have to tell you something. After 10 million followers or 18 million followers, I have to tell you something. I am not who do you think you are.
That's when she opened up.
That's a thing. And then everybody it was like, even me, I've been, it's like, I was shocked. I didn't know about it. But in that time, she wanted to come out because she got in a lot of hate threats and scamming on her life. That if you not going, give me money or less, I'm gonna, I'm gonna spill your secret to the world. So rather than getting money from me, girl, I'm gonna tell to the world who I am, because no one will gonna judge me. They're watching me for my talent in makeup, not for who I am as a person.
It's similar with Gina Rosero.
Yeah.
Do you know her? Gina Rosero.
Gina,
I remember we were at the Philippine consulate, and I knew her beforehand through community stuff, and then all of a sudden she's like, oh yeah, so nonchalantly, she's like, oh Rachelle, I just came out recently as trans. I was like, I'm sorry?
What? I didn't know.
No, because she was not, and she just, and I didn't know how to process it, and I was like, did it make a difference? She's still Gina.
Exactly.
But she has really advocated for the trans community at a completely different level.
But you looked at her as gay, probably. Or
No.
No, this is a woman,
No,
right?
Yeah,
So you thought that she was a
female.
woman, okay.
Yeah, female.
I got a
model.
lot of that unless that, okay, I'm going to,
So how do you
Right.
feel about... Go ahead, Jan.
Like every mother wants their child to have a relationship, a successful relationship. I mean, as a regular, I don't want to say regular, but it's hard enough to get a relationship. So as a transgender, is it difficult to be in a relationship?
I am happy, but for me, relationship, no matter what gender you are, it's still hard to find relationship, even in New York. No matter if you are a cis woman or if you are a trans woman, it's still hard to find love. But I think for me on my life, there's a time that it's really hard to find. Guys doesn't treat you well. They
When
fetishize
they find out.
fetishizes.
Oh,
They fetishizes you.
That's very common.
Because it's just like being a trans, people wanted to try being with trans. That is generalization. So they thinking about that. So relationship is just like you are almost like not believing in a relationship anymore when you are trans. But you're trying out, and then like for me right now, I'm happily committed in a healthy relationship. But of course, there's a lot of traumas to address because you don't want it to share the traumas with your partner if you are in a healthy relationship.
Thanks so much. That is a very good way to end this very interesting episode. Yeah. Am I good with time, Rachelle?
Well, actually, I wanted to ask a quick
Okay,
question.
question.
Very
Very
quick
quick
question. Maria, even just the word trans is so triggering to some people.
That's true. That's true.
What is your message to people to help understand the trans community?
Well,
very quickly?
Yeah, quickly. We're not hurting anybody here. We're sharing to the world who we are, And as long as we are existing, no one can stop us because we are here and we're still doing what we love and to share, be kind to everybody. I think that's the thing.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Maria.
you.
Thanks so much for a very enlightening episode, Maria.
Thanks to be here.
And I personally picked up a lot of stuff, especially the difference between gay and trans. I didn't know that. But I think I need to educate myself some more. By the way, Makilala is having a 2-part episode on this issue. So in the next episode, we will feature the mothers of transgender women and the spectrum of emotions they went through toward love and acceptance. We will keep you posted. In the meantime, thanks for watching.